Hi guys, how you doing? Sinyo Gaming here, and in today's episode I'm bringing you Blade Idol and the tips for beginners. The actual beginner level, what I'm talking here, is going to be between level 1000 to about 5000, as actually the game itself will unlock more content as you progress. And believe it or not, myself being on level 8500 plus, I still got plenty of content which is not unlocked. And obviously I'll make separate videos where we're going to address these different areas of the game. Right, so let's get straight to the point. So tip number one is gonna be buffs. So if you are a free to play player, you got a chance of actually receiving 4 different buffs: the gold enhance, experience, attack speed and movement. And if you watch ad for every single one of them, you can get a buff for 1 hour. We can do it 5 times a day, which means we can get buffs for 5 hours a day. And there is actually a paid package. If you want to use real currency, you can actually have buffs permanently. So this is obviously going to have a massive advantage if you are a paid player. Okay, so that's tip number one. Now tip number two is going to be a growth. So growth is going to be one of the tabs which you're definitely going to have when you're just starting out. And if we go into a growth category just on the top, obviously as you see I have invested heavily into attack, and that's a common advice in these kind of games. But actually what I have discovered that a certain levels won't allow you to surpass with just heavy attack output. So you still will have to actually go and invest in some defensive skills. As you see, I've got a max defense in here and over 5000 level in hit points. But yet again, if you feel comfortable where you are, go ahead and start investing into attack again. So from attack, I would definitely then invest into all criticals. So you will unlock critical rate as a basic one to start off, and later on game progress you will have a super one and a hyper one. And obviously difference in between is just as they go further down the line, they will be more expensive, but they also add different types of crit, and every single one just hits heavier. So obviously hyper crit is your end goal, and this is where you want to go. When it comes to penetration and accuracy, when you start progressing within the game or complete dungeons, you will see that this stat will actually start missing from time to time. So this is where you want to go and then start spending some of the currency to level up so you can progress further and further up. Okay. So then when we actually expanding on the growth, we're also going to talk about level up. So obviously apart spending gold and upgrading statistics, you will be leveling up here and using then experience in exchange for stats as well. So as you see, currently level 4000 on attack, which is maxed out, a bit stats in a defense. We actually got option here to increase a drop rate for a various chest, and these chests will be very crucial as these are very rare to get, but they can give you a diamonds, they can give you a gear, and they can give you a skill. So you want to maximize it as much as you can, because this is actually gonna be a fuel for yourself to grow stronger and stronger. If we then scroll slightly down, again, penetration and accuracy, as I mentioned, top it up where necessary. Then skill attack, I have definitely recommend going for skill attack, as you'll be depending a lot on skills. This is completely outperforming your normal attack, so you want to have it maxed out. And then upgrade final attack as well for a higher damage output. And as you see now, currently I have started increasing accessory chest drop rate, but we're gonna discuss that when we get to inventory. So now lastly, and this will be one of the things as well, as you're gonna progress, you will unlock one after another, it's gonna be a skill pool. So obviously we got 12 skills with a different grade as well. And when you're just starting out, you obviously will start with 1, then 2, and so on and so on. And then later on, when you're gonna start farming chest, you'll be able to actually level the skills up. And my advice here is, we will actually go to a main screen. As you see, you've got 3 options to set up your skills. So currently what I've done, my setup number 1 are the one of the very first skills. Sorry, we go back to growth and skills. It's going to be one of the selections of the very first skills, because actually they got the lowest cooldown. And what you want to do, as you see the gameplay itself, is just move from a skill to skill, because this is where the damage output is the highest. But actually my second selection, if we go back to skills again, is gonna be a selection of the last skills, as these gonna be most powerful, but yet again obviously cooldown gonna be big on them. So this is where you're gonna hit hard any boss, or you want to try to push some levels further. This is where you're gonna focus on a strategy with stronger skills. Okay, so going back to a farming stage, and now tip number 3 is gonna be inventory itself. So from inventory, we're gonna talk about equipment and accessory, which you're gonna start unlocking in a later stage. It works in a very similar manner. We're talking here ring, earring, and hairpin, and equipment we've got weapon, gloves, armor, and helmet. So once you actually start progressing within the game, I want you to definitely focus on weapon first. So as you're gonna go slowly with obviously a rares weapon, and then you're gonna go into legendary and so on. I believe when you're gonna get into first mythical, this is where you can start upgrading. So you'll be using a little bit of resource, which can be farmed out of dungeons. And as you see, I have managed to level few of them up before I managed to land my first god. And this is gonna be your aim. Every single time you got a spare diamonds, you wanna keep summoning weapon. I'm gonna show you in just a second, to get as soon as you can into a first god. And then later on, obviously, you'll be progressing up to a god grade 1. And then once you've got that, you will then start focusing on armor. It's exactly same principle. Obviously, what we need to bear in mind, weapon is only one type, so it will land quicker. Gloves, armor, and helmet will always have only 33% chance for each of them, as you draw in armor as in general. When it comes to skin, which is also in equipment, I have put a separate video. It gives you additional statistics. So this is where we are. Okay, so once we're actually in equipment, when it goes to supplies, it's gonna be all these chests I have mentioned earlier. This is quite a lot of hours put into to farm these amounts, but this is where we're gonna farm accessories from this one. As you see, we got a chance here for rare ones. We've got a treasure chest, which will give us a chance for items and diamonds. Same in here, and these two will give us options of a skill books. So, as mentioned earlier, in the statistics in the growth itself, you want to make sure you want to increase the chance of skill books and etc. because this is definitely a game changer to have these items in place. Okay. So coming out of that equipment, again, the tip number 4 is going to be the diamonds. So as you see, I got currently 189,000, and as you start playing the game, you will quickly discover that it comes from a daily mission, repeat mission. You might have a chance to get some diamonds from events, and you'll be able to get them from a shop, etc. Once you got enough, definitely what you should prioritize, if we go to a shop, it should be a costume. So we're talking here about third tab, and as you see, you've got a different costumes. They only give you a cosmetic element, and I have put separate video about costumes, but they will give you a permanent own effect. And we're talking here about extra damage, extra experience, gold, and so on. So you got few different costumes itself, and then you will have different costume when it comes to weapon. When you complete that, then tip number 5 is actually start looking into a package, and then we tap costume package. I have also put a separate video about free coins, but I'm putting this all together as a beginner's guide. You actually got a chance of either paying real currency, in my case £24, or I can start farming a free coin. So this is a currency which you can actually obtain in the game for free. It's a slow grinder, but you can actually do it. And as you see, I have managed to purchase first free, absolutely free, and I'm just waiting for the last one, which cost me 230. So this is where you want to focus your diamonds and free coins to start off, as this is going to be a permanent bonuses which will stay with you forever. Okay. And then finally, lastly, a beginner's guide is gonna be relics itself. So the relic actually can be summoned. So we talk about summoning weapon, and we're gonna end up with weapon. Summoning armor will give us one of 3, so either armor, helmet, or gloves. But then also you will have a chance of summoning relics. And the reason you want to do it shortly after you do your costumes, because they actually give a percentage of your statistics. And bear in mind what's worth noting here, that actually you don't have a chance when you're just starting out to have a, I don't know, 40% chance for a normal relic, and let's say a 0.1% for the god one. As you will start unlocking relics, you will see that it will game pretty much prompt you to get level 60 of the normal one, and then you start unlocking obviously the next grades and so on and so on. So just don't be surprised that you're not getting, let's say, rare or mythical ones to start off. Once you start completing these to level 60, then further and further downs will start unlocking. Okay, so yet again, talking about this game, it's quite complex, and that's why I believe it got a very big audience and a lot of people enjoy the game. But that's pretty much, it's gonna be a very early stage for you. If you just stick to these tips, you should definitely see yourself growing quite quickly. Okay, right then guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this useful, and as always, I'll see you next time.